Hey guys, welcome back. My name is Cade if you haven't seen any of my videos yet, and I made this YouTube channel about a couple weeks ago. I'm dedicated to uploading content every week that kind of talks about what I'm learning and some of the books I'm reading, so I really hope you enjoy. Today I'm going to be talking about something very near and dear to all of our hearts, I assume, and that is our smartphones. Now I hold my own smartphone up here right now, but I'm actually using it to film this video, so that's not going to happen. So a lot of what I'm going to be talking about today actually comes from a book called Digital Minimalism by Newport. I highly recommend it. It's actually kind of ironic because I actually have it on my Kindle and not in physical form. But if you find anything interesting that I'm talking about in this video, I really highly recommend that you buy that book and read it for yourself so you get some more in-depth knowledge and more understanding about what I'm talking about. Digital minimalism is a philosophy of technology use in which you focus online time on a small number of carefully selected and optimized activities that strongly support things you value, and then happily miss out on everything else. Essentially, digital minimalists don't mind missing out on those small things. They don't really sweat that. They're more worried about missing out on those big things that they already know are things they value and are important to them. How many times a day do you unconsciously check your phone? You reach out and pick your phone up out of your pocket, look at the screen, see the time, and then don't even remember why you picked it up in the first place. Why do we do this? We pull up to a stoplight, take our phone out of our pocket, look at it, for no reason. It's a habit that we've taken up. Essentially, we're constantly seeking pleasure, however we can get it. It just happens to be that our phones are like pleasure machines, sending those signals over and over again, and so we keep on coming back. This is why it's so hard to keep your attention span long at all for something you're not interested about, because we have this other alternative that promises us instant gratification. Why not just pick up your phone and play a game or scroll through social media instead of reading some boring book? We now live in an age of distraction, and our attention span is virtually gone. Don't get me wrong, technology is great, you should still use it, I still use it, but it's more about how we use it. I think we're in an age right now where there's a lot of people that have become enslaved to it, and it runs their lives. They don't know how to operate without it. I think a good question to ask ourselves is, why do I check my phone so much? What is it that I need to do on there? Why do I feel the need to check it so often? Once I started to ask myself these questions, I slowly came to the realization that I may have been addicted to my smartphone. I couldn't imagine a day without using it. I couldn't imagine an hour with not using it. It had become something that I relied on in too many senses, and I always craved using it. Addiction is a condition in which a person engages in use of a substance or a behavior for which the rewarding effects provide a compelling incentive to repeatedly pursue this behavior despite detrimental consequences. I was aware of how much I was using it, and I was watching the screen time, but it didn't stop me. Now, this was never my intention whenever I got a smartphone. I didn't think, hey, I'm so excited to get addicted to this thing. No, there's lots of great things you can do on them and ways to stay connected to people you know. They've designed some of these features to be inherently addictive. They understand what causes us to come back over and over again. And so it's not all our fault. We didn't have this intention coming into it. But now that we're aware of how addicted we are or aren't, how much time we spend on our phones, and why we do, now it's not just on them for making these things addictive, but it's on us for figuring out how to break that addiction and what tools we can use in order to fix this problem. I think Blaise Pascal, a 17th century mathematician, says it best when he states, "All of humanity's problems stem from man's inability to sit quietly in a room alone." Now remember, this is a 17th century mathematician. This isn't just a problem that we just now encountered within the last 10, 20 years. This has been around forever. We've always had this problem, but it's just been heightened because of this technology and smartphone usage. So you can only imagine how bad it is for us, considering this was a problem before any of this technology existed. We've entered into a world that values constant connectivity and always being wired and available to be contacted, and having no time to just be by yourself with your thoughts with no interruptions. For such a long time, I always prided myself at my ability to never have any notifications and always respond immediately and always check my email right when it comes and always have all the information coming to me at all times and be readily available to help anyone at the drop of a hat. The truth is, as human beings, we weren't designed for this constant connectivity. We need so much more time to rest, recharge, and reflect. As human beings, we need solitude. That is something that this world has tossed out the window. I'm sure you haven't heard that word in so long because it's almost an afterthought. It's thought of as a waste of time or simply not fun. Solitude basically means any time spent that's devoid of any input from other people. So this means not reading a book, not listening to music, not talking to someone, but just you with your thoughts and nothing else. Now I know that sounds crazy and almost impossible, and that is exactly why I think it's so profound what Blaise Pascal said about solitude and about how we have no ability to stay alone in a room with just our thoughts. It's almost scary to us. The book refers to those things like Netflix and social media as low-quality leisure, which just means you're filling your brain with empty thoughts and there's no real value to it. You're not getting anything of real value out of it. And advocates that instead you spend your time doing things such as doing something active, reading a book, or engaging in a real conversation with a real person face to face. So these things are not bad, again. It's just that you should curate them and select a certain amount of time that you spend on these things. Otherwise, you're going to sit and watch Netflix all day and then feel bad about yourself afterwards. The book instead just recommends that you interact with it in a different way. Instead of every time you're bored, rushing to Netflix, rushing to Instagram, rushing to Facebook, and filling your mind with empty thoughts, instead schedule this time in advance. And outside of that time that's scheduled, find something of more quality to do. You don't have to make this super drastic and say 1 hour a week on Netflix. No, I think you can make it manageable and kind of ease into it until you notice how much time you're actually spending on it. It also says that before you start trying to limit these activities, first try and find more high quality activities that you're not just left sitting there alone doing nothing. It'll be much easier to run back to those low quality activities if you have nothing else to do. But if you pick up a new hobby or a new thing you like to do, it's going to be so much easier to replace those things. And you're way less likely to try to return to that social media scrolling again. Now, one of the ways that I've been able to stay off my phone more is by turning off all the notifications, except for call and text. Now, this has been super helpful for me by eliminating those distractions. When my phone's just sitting there, I would be so prone to just grab it once I see a notification, and then might as well just stay on a little longer, and it would make it so much harder to work, to concentrate, and to do those things. But as I've turn these off for a longer period of time, and it's been a while since I started this, I don't as often instantly grab my phone and forget why I grabbed it. I use my phone for a purpose, and if I'm looking for something or thinking of something I need to do, I have to go and check that app instead of waiting for a notification. And sometimes that can be a little annoying, but I think it's worth it. I've essentially changed the way I think about my phone. Rather than thinking about it as a pleasure source in a way that can gratify me at all times, it's something that I value for its ability to communicate and to connect me quickly and easily. And it's not necessarily something I need to have, but it's more so how I use it and being very careful about the apps I have on there and why I have them on there. And so in addition to limiting those notifications, I've also deleted a lot of the apps that I simply wasn't using or I didn't really need to have on there and I could just access on my computer and didn't need access at all times. I think so often we sacrifice so much for convenience. And that's really what smartphones are at the end of the day. We don't need them. We've just told ourselves that we do because we come up with all these ideas, all these things that we miss out on if we don't have them. It's all due to this fear of missing out culture called FOMO. Another really powerful but yet simple thing that I've tried to start doing is simply leaving my phone behind when I go places. Now I know this sounds really scary and honestly unsafe, but you have to be kind of selective when you do this. So maybe you're going out with friends and you really have no need for a phone because you're with other people. It's honestly crazy how much freer your mind is and how much more likely you are to want to engage in conversation with those around you when you don't have your phone with you. I think we've been tied down so much by our phones and by technology, and we don't look up at what's around us. But I can tell you firsthand that going places without it and just forgetting that you have it at times is so freeing and opens you up to so much more and so much more conversation and so much more view of the world around you. I charge you to just try something small to start out, whether that be turning your notifications off, whether that be going on a jog without your phone, or go read a book and leave your phone in the other room. But try something and see how it makes you feel. Likely, it's going to be hard at first, and it was for me. But once you start getting used to it, it is so worth it. And you start to see a whole new world that you've been missing out on the whole time. Technology is such a great thing, but if we don't understand why and how we use it, we become enslaved to it. I really hope you enjoyed this video and got something super helpful out of it. If you did, feel free to watch my video I posted last week about simple habits, and you can maybe even try to pair these two videos and these two concepts together. I really hope you continue watching my videos in the future as I continue updating new videos, including one about social media that I'm going to probably post next week, and many more about some of the books I'm reading and things I'm learning. If you like this video, I really ask you to hit that like button below because it'll help other people get to see it as well. And if you want to see next week's video and others like it, I ask that you subscribe and then hit that little bell icon so that it tells you whenever I upload my videos each week. Thank you so much, guys. Have a nice day.